After initially missing weight by 0.5 pounds, Anthony Hernandez came back and did make weight 186, so his main event fight Saturday at the UFC Apex against Roman Dolidze is on. Daniel Cormier was saying a couple months back, he was hearing that Khamzat was out of the fight with DDP and they're looking for a replacement. If true, it does bring into question, like, if Khamzat does become champion, is his health issues and stuff like that going to prevent him from being an active champion? But hopefully nothing happens between now and next Saturday and the DDP fight goes through, because that is a great fight.
I can say this now since we're a week from the fight. 2 months ago, I got a call saying Khamzat was going to be out. Who do you think should fight Drake? Should it be the kid from France? I'm talking about, what's the welterweight, the 185 from France? He's very good. The boxer. Imavov. Yep, Imavov. Or should it be Bohalio? It wasn't. It was always going to be Khamzat. He was going to make that walk.
Chael Sonnen thinks if DDP beats Khamzat Chimaev next week, that puts him into the top 3 in the pound-for-pound ranking, so I guess he would overtake Merab Dvalishvili in that case. The top of the rankings in the pound-for-pound is quite fluid. If Makhachev beats JDM in the fall, then maybe he overtakes Topuria and becomes number 1.
And if Drickus can go out and look good and get the win over Chimaev, I just think that ranking, he all of a sudden is going to be flirting with Islam space and Ilya space. He's going to be flirting with the top 3. And I think that's the only way that we know how to compliment him in our industry. We give him a belt, we give him a main event, and then we give him a little bit more. And that top 3 placing pound for pound is very within reach right now for Drickus.
Sean Strickland is a good guy to ask about DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev, because he's trained with Khamzat in the past, and he's also fought DDP 2 times over 10 rounds, so that's 50 minutes of fighting that he's had with DDP, so he has a lot of knowledge on both guys. For Sean, he feels that DDP is the better striker than Khamzat Chimaev, but DDP has to deal with a grappling and wrestling storm he may have never contended with in the past. If he can survive that storm for, say, like a round, then, in Sean's opinion, DDP will take the fight.
So I sparred. I fought Dricus. I fought Dricus. I fought Dricus has better stand-up than Chimaev, but Chimaev has a pretty crazy grappling. Now, I've been training with these fucking dadgy terrorists my entire fucking life. So it's like I train with these fuckers. I know how to get up from these guys. I can withstand the storm. I don't know if he's encountered that level of wrestling to where it might get him a little off guard. But if he could handle it, get up and work his way up. I mean, it's kind of hard because, like, I mean, it's a long time ago, but Brad took him down and held him down. Fuck, I should took him down. But Brad took him down and held him down. So it's like he just really has to be ready for an extreme amount of pressure on the ground. And if he can withstand that, he's undefeated.
Apparently Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman are going to be fighting for a 3rd time, but in boxing this time, they fought twice in MMA and the UFC. Weidman won both of them. Those fights were for the middleweight title. Weidman KO'd him in the first fight, and the second one, Anderson Silva's leg broke. A credible source who spoke directly with Chris Weidman at a wrestling tournament in Atlanta last week said that the trilogy fight with Anderson Silva is happening and will be under boxing rules. That's something that Anderson Silva is familiar with lately. His last 5 competitions have been boxing bouts against Chael Sonnen exhibition, Jake Paul, Bruno Azevedo, Tito Ortiz, who he knocked out in the first round, and Julio Cesar Chavez, who he beat via split decision in 2021. Chris Weidman last fought in December against Eric Anders, and after that fight he retired, which was a great idea because he looked terrible in that fight and got stopped in the second round via ground and pound. But it turns out that Weidman didn't retire. He just retired from the UFC, and then he went to the GFL, but then the GFL retired. They went down the toilet, and now it looks like he will be boxing Anderson Silva. Angela Hill takes on Lucindo on Saturday. If Hill lands at least 76 strikes, she will move into 2nd place all-time for most significant strikes landed in UFC history. Number 1 is Max Holloway. Currently, number 2 is Sean Strickland. Tickets go on sale on the 18th of this month for Oliveira versus Fiziev, UFC Fight Night Rio. Number 4 and 10 in the lightweight division. Oliveira coming off that knockout loss to Topuria, and Fiziev coming off that win over Ignacio Bahamondes by decision. Fiziev fought his last fight in his home country of Azerbaijan. Now he goes to Brazil, to enemy territory for him, against Oliveira.
But I was wondering if you could provide more of an update on how the boxing initiative is progressing, especially with some of the new legislation being proposed?
First off, look, we think boxing is an attractive growth opportunity for TKO. We're excited about our new JV, formerly titled Zuffa Boxing, which we launched with Saudi-based Silva and announced in early March. This is low risk, and TKO receives a roughly $10 million fee for serving as the managing partner and providing day-to-day operational management oversight. And that's all margin for us. TKO has no funding obligation. Additionally, outside of the JV, wholly separate, we will look to deliver 2 to 3 super fights per year, similar to the Canelo Crawford fight that the Saudis, of course, Nick Khan and Dana White have helped us put together for September in Las Vegas. Again, no risk to us on that deal. We get a fee to promote it, each one of these super fights. We get a fee to negotiate the media rights for each fight, which IMG does. So another reason we're strong and proud that we brought IMG into the fold of our flywheel. We get a fee for on location to sell hospitality packages. And we will put Zuffa Boxing fighters on the undercard of each of these super fights. We expect to net on average another $10 million for every super fight we manage and promote. And I would just say one last note, we've had significant interest from several domestic linear and D2C platforms with regard to the media rights for our Zuffa Boxing promotion that will launch in the first quarter of next year. And we are in the home stretch of those negotiations and believe we will have something to announce soon. Now, with regard to the Muhammad Ali Act and the reform that's going on there, I know there's been a lot of press and attention to your point, and I'd like Lawrence Epstein to walk you through our efforts and our progress there. Lawrence?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So as Mark alluded to, the Muhammad Ali American Boxing Revival Act was recently introduced in Congress. It's got bipartisan support via our co-sponsors, Brian Jack of Georgia and Congressman Sharice Davids of Kansas. Sharice actually is a former MMA athlete. I want to be very clear that this new legislation does not intend to change anything in the existing Muhammad Ali Boxing Act. Every single word will remain exactly the same. We are proposing is adding some additional language to this legislation that will allow for what I'll call a UFC style or unified organization for the promotion of boxing events. This is going to provide more choice for athletes in the boxing space, and we are very optimistic that this legislation will move relatively quickly through first the House of Representatives and then, of course, the Senate and become law. We're hopeful in the relatively near future.